Did everybody enjoy the screening? Yes, yes, yes. Super exciting today because we have the stars of Netflix's Chilling Adventures of Sabrina here tonight. Let's give them another round of applause. So, of course, we have none other than Sabrina, Kiernan Shipka, Madame Satan, Michelle Gomez, the lovely Roz, Jaz Sinclair, and of course, Nicholas Scratch, Gavin Leatherwood. So first off, congratulations, guys, on part 2.
Thank you so much.
So obviously, fans want to know every single thing about the show, every little detail, every little spell. So we're just gonna talk and kind of let them in on some of the secrets and some of the happenings of part 2, right?
Love it. Sounds great.
So yeah, you guys also the first episode. So obviously now Sabrina is full time at the Academy of Unseen Arts. So just starting off, like, how does that kind of affect her friendships with some of her friends at Baxter High?
There's definitely a strain in the beginning of the season between the friendships of Roz and Theo and Harvey and Sabrina, because this is kind of the first time we're really seeing them, besides the Christmas special, knowing the full truth about Sabrina. But honestly, by the end of the season, I think it honestly strengthens their friendship, because Greendale sort of starts to feel like one crazy town instead of a town with two sides by the end of it. But yeah, no doubt in the beginning there's a lack of trust, and it's kind of rocky and tense and weird, and not how we're used to kind of seeing our core 4. But by the end of the season, I think it becomes something else, which is also fun.
And how does Nicholas Scratch feel about Sabrina being at the school full time?
He's amped.
Yeah.
It's on? Can you guys hear me? Yeah, he's so stoked, man. I mean, for him, that's like a dream come true, because Nick's abilities and talents really lend themselves nicely to Sabrina. We're true partners in crime, I believe, and the timing is perfect. She's just embracing these powers and discovering what she can really do with them. And Nick's abilities and strengths really just lend themselves nicely to that. And he gets to be with her more, so win-win.
And we'll hopefully be seeing more Roz and Sabrina moments, though, too, throughout part 2, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We get some really, really nice ones in part 2, which I'm really excited about, because anytime we get to have like a really strong friendship moment, I'm all about it. And we definitely have a few, like you said. There's definitely some tension to work through in the beginning, and just kind of feeling lied to and confused. But Sabrina and Roz are really good friends and are able to come together in a really nice way.
Absolutely.
And Michelle, what's it like getting to play principal now?
Well, I was pretty full after that one, because it seemed to be eating my way up the hierarchy, and he was a mouthful. Yeah. So I'm feeling a little bloated, if I'm honest.
And so obviously, Sabrina's friendships are really important, but we saw the.
You did ask.
I did ask. I did. It is my fault. So this wouldn't be a show without a little love triangle. And so how do you think Sabrina and Nick and Harvey kind of feel about like the tension? Do you think Harvey and Sabrina can kind of repair their friendship? Yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think Sabrina's kind of having a great time, to be quite honest. I mean, she's got 2 cute boys, and she's just living her best life in so many ways. But no, I think that this season, Nick is totally for Sabrina. This season is all about Sabrina being a very powerful young witch, and Nick is a very young, powerful, talented warlock. And I think they complement each other in so many ways. And I think Harvey is still a little bit terrified of Sabrina's powers and what she can do. I think he's still traumatized and hurt and feels lied to in a lot of ways. But he was her first love, and I think that's always going to be there to an extent. And I think the relationship this season, again, in the end, gets strengthened by all that goes on. But deep down, I think there's always going to be feelings between those two. I just do. So Sabrina's going to have to figure it out.
Well, she has great choices, so.
Yeah, she's got great choices. Yeah.
So both Sabrina and Roz are, they get pretty like cool powers this part, right? Yeah. So can you speak a little bit to like kind of what we'll see from kind of following the path of night, and also kind of like with the with Roz's visions and everything?
Everyone gets more powerful this season. That's for sure, especially you.
Yeah, it's been really fun with the cunning. Like in this next part, it's kind of like there's nothing that couldn't qualify as a cunning vision in a way. So there's a lot of cool moments where I get to like dip in and out of the magical world, which I'm always into.
How does it feel like having to film some of those scenes where you're just like, I'm having a vision, but like you don't like actually see it? You know what I mean?
I just picture it. Literally. I'm like, oh my gosh, and I just picture it, and then that's it. So that's easy.
And what's it like reciting Latin and everything, Like,
Ater ignis fusque fume te evoco. No, I'm
Voci
Oh,
vocal
damn,
latte.
girl. Damn.
I know, it's fun. The Latin's been really great. I honestly am glad that we got to do more spells this year. It feels really fun. Cool.
oh, she's.
It's my new party trick. Yeah.
I love that. Michelle, how are you doing?
Well, I just realized it's the beginning of what could be a long hour, so I'm just getting comfortable.
Yeah. It's like your living room, right? It's like Miss Wardell's living room.
This is my happy place.
And so we saw a little bit about Nick's kind of fascination with the Spellman family. So will we see a little bit more about what Nick exactly wants from Sabrina, and maybe like he had a little bit of an obsession with her dad a little bit in part 1. So is that explored a little bit more? Will we see kind of that fleshed out? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, there's that reverence for Edward Spellman will never go away. He is a Edward Spellman fanatic. I mean, he idolizes the man and really what he stood for, and the fact that Sabrina comes in and sort of has this similar revolutionary quality and this really powerful. I mean, she's a powerful force, and underneath all of that, Nick really just wants to see Sabrina progress in her path as a witch, and yeah, we'll definitely see a bit more of Edward Spellman as well, and yeah, their quest together.
And so all throughout part 1, and especially in the premiere episode of part 2, Sabrina likes to challenge authority, and and so with this really antiquated idea of like top boy, it's really fun to see her kind of like call out the BS of why can't this be any student. So why is it kind of important for like viewers who see Sabrina kind of question those sorts of like traditions and whatnot?
I think because it's important to do in real life as well. So it's only fitting that we tell a story that follows a young girl who is growing up in this world where things don't exactly feel right in a lot of ways, and instead of staying silent, she does something. I think that's awesome, and I think in so many ways it makes her I don't like to use the word role model because she's still making a lot of mistakes herself and figuring everything out. She's a young girl, but needless to say, I think that young people watching this and anyone watching this can learn lessons from that, from calling out what you think is not okay. I think that's sort of a quality that we should all embody. Speak up if something's not right.
Do you guys have anything to add to that or anything?
Yeah, I mean, just being able to play a character too that gets to assist in that and support the women around our daily life. I mean, I think I'm just proud to be a character that gets to do that. And there have been so many social constructs where we do have men traditionally in certain positions, and that's shifting, and I think it's important to keep bringing that to light. And Sabrina is a great role model in my eye for sure.
Nick's a feminist for sure.
Definitely.
He's a warlock, but also a feminist.
He's a warlock feminist.
So for Madame Satan, she kind of has this big surprise where she's kind of competing against Sabrina a little bit to be the apple of Satan's eyes, right? So how does that like?
You could call it a competition, but I'm in it, so.
So what was it like fleshing that kind of that tension out? That conflict.
I think it's going to be. I think we will surprise you as this season 1, part 2 develops, because for Madame Satan, she gets to see. It feels like a kind of younger version of herself, in a way, because Sabrina is not reporting back to anyone, but Madame Satan is, and she might be getting a bit bored of that. Popping back to the old Dark Lord there and asking him what I'm meant to be doing next. Put it this way, there's not going to be many more times Madame Satan's going to be prepared to get down on her knees and kiss his hooves anymore. Not doing that anymore. And I think it's partly because things are changing. Like in the last couple of years, there's been a massive shift where we do get to celebrate a girl, a woman moving into adulthood so beautifully and seamlessly, and the role model that Kiernan gets to play and becomes an inspiration for girls to find their voice and stand on their own 2 feet and push the boundaries and not have to accept what we've been told time and time and again, because that's how it's done. Well, can't we do it a different way? Can't we just get rid of all those labels and just be who we are? I think we can.
Absolutely. Yeah. So awesome that we have you guys here, but obviously there's plenty of other characters also in the show. So with Ambrose kind of at the Academy full time, how does that kind of affect his relationship with maybe some of the other witches and warlocks, and also like his cousin specifically, Sabrina?
Definitely. I mean, I think the thing to kind of keep our eye out for is Ambrose and Luke. In a lot of ways, there's something a little sus about that, I would say. So yeah, Ambrose's journey is just completely different. I mean, we fell in love with him in the first season for being the fun, cool cousin with some asides and funny remarks and stuff like that. But in the second season, his psyche is really explored, and he gets into some very sticky situations. It's a different vibe for him this season in so many ways. And in the first part, he was Sabrina's confidant kind of always. And in this season, it feels like he's kind of trying to figure out exactly what he is and who he is in the world instead of under house arrest.
Will we see any more him like interacting with other warlocks or anything, or other witches or anything at the Academy?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think we should FaceTime him and ask him.
We really
Let's do it.
should.
He's got a phone.
Honestly.
I wish I brought my phone.
I know, I didn't bring my phone.
Just all your
Where
fun.
is Chance?
Maybe
Why
next
is he not-
time.
Yeah, next time.
Miss you, Chance.
He can astral project.
I mean, you'll all be able to watch in just a couple hours all that play out. So, so obviously Aunt Hilda and Zelda. So where are they up to? And kind of obviously, one aunt is maybe a little bit happier than the other in terms of Sabrina being at the Academy full time and kind of being devoted to Satan. So how does that cause any more conflict between them or anything?
I think it does, because I think that they'll always have that sort of dynamic to a certain extent, but both of them are on very different journeys this season. I think Hilda definitely has her own journey and her own relationship, which is really cool to see play out. It's quite great. And Zelda gets gets into a whole other thing. So,
Yeah,
a whole thing. So they're both kind of independently dealing with stuff, but I think at the end of the day, they're sisters. They love each other. They have each other's back, and you're always going to see them kind of come together in that way. But I'm pretty obsessed with Hilda this season in a lot of ways. You get to see her be lethal and badass, and it's amazing. It's amazing.
So Father Blackwood, obviously a thorn in everyone's side, right? Like,
Ooh.
boo.
You guys get excited.
Will it be more boo this season too?
Yeah,
Yes.
for
Man.
sure.
Right? Yeah,
He does all kinds of crazy
Take
stuff.
a
in
hint
this.
from that episode.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
Yeah, he's
Not a
on
good guy.
one.
We need to get him in check.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any advice for maybe a Father Blackwood in people's lives or anything? If like someone who might be
Yeah,
like,
just be careful with that shit. You know, just stop it. Just, you know, we're fine. We'll work it out, you know. Just
I mean,
let us make our mistakes, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Just go away.
well, I think the other thing too is that Sabrina is a fighter. She has always been a fighter, and she wants to have it her way in so many ways. But I think the most powerful thing that you can do is believe in yourself, trust yourself, and don't let anyone else bring you down or tell you what to do. And in so many ways, she does that this season, and she challenges these ideals and these beliefs so much this season. I think it's a really powerful message, because at the end of the day, Father Blackwood's just scared of her.
He is
I
a
mean,
scaredy cat.
He's threatened.
Cat.
He is. He's like it's for me. He's kind of like the bully in the schoolyard that just doesn't know how to join in. Like doesn't know how to play the game. So he tries to control it, and really he's just a little pussycat.
did you have something to add to that, Jazz? No, you don't.
I was just gonna say he's threatened really by
Yeah.
Sabrina and Sabrina's power, because he really likes putting the idea in everybody's head that he's the most powerful. He's second to the Dark Lord, and Sabrina's coming along and being like, really? Why? Prove it.
Right.
And he doesn't like that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of full power, Sabrina, you had a little hair makeover at end of part 1, right?
Indeed, I did.
So what was it like going full platinum witchy realness?
I mean, it's great because it's a wig, so so my hair underneath has never been healthier, and I didn't have to wash it as much, which is actually better for your hair. I mean, you shouldn't be washing your hair at least I think for my hair it's better. So I was doing like coconut oil treatments under there, conditioning treatments every single day. My hair's never been better.
Yeah.
But no, the wig actually kind of got me into that sort of dark Sabrina mode. The makeup was a little bit edgier. The clothes were a little darker, fiercer, a little more chic, and a little less kind of cute. And all of that helps you get into the mode. And since she's such a different character this season, or this part of this season, shall I say, it that all helps you get into it for sure.
Do we feel like Sabrina's like watching like makeup tutorials on YouTube, trying to do like dark makeup for witches?
Yeah, she's probably gone down a few YouTube rabbit holes. I think so. He's watched a few vlogs or something. I don't know. Maybe that's what they watch.
I love that. So another fan favorite is obviously the Weird Sisters, and who were kind of, put Sabrina through the ringer, but also proved to be kind of helpful here and there. So what's the dynamic with them this season? What can we expect from the Weird Sisters for part 2 of Chilling?
It's always going to be hot and cold, in my opinion, or at least in this season it's hot and cold, because sometimes they help her and sometimes they kind of put a wall up and don't. And I think that it's in their nature in a lot of ways, but I think really, really, really deep down there's a respect, maybe even a camaraderie to a certain extent. But honestly, because the Weird Sisters have a little bit of a history with Mr. Nicholas Scratch over here, I feel like there's also kind of a dynamic there that makes Sabrina a bit uneasy.
Yeah, they
times.
certainly like to throw that in your face.
Yeah, they like to
From
flaunt
time
it.
to time. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, old loves are always a threatening thing, just like Harvey to Nick.
exactly.
Yeah. Except there's 3 of them,
Yeah.
and you've got 1.
And they're
3
vicious.
gorgeous gals, just
Yeah.
like, yeah.
We want to watch you suffer. It's a little different.
Slightly.
So what's also great about the shows, there's so many fun sets. Like there's the Academy, there's Baxter High, there's the bookstore that Aunt Hilda works at. So what's like personally your guys' favorite set?
My goodness, it's so easy to work on these sets too, because it's just you get so immersed in it. You don't have to really imagine that much. It's all so fleshed out so beautifully.
Lisa Soper, the
right there,
production
yeah.
designer, is just unbelievably talented because you could literally put the camera 360 degrees spin and you'd still be in the world of Sabrina. So it's all down to her imagination and her attention to detail. And you know, there's times when, I don't know about you guys, but you know, when you would cross from stage 1 to stage 2 on your own and you take that shortcut down the corridor and you'd be on your own halfway down the corridor and you're like, okay, I want to just get out of here. Because it stops feeling like a stage. It felt so alive and so real. So I just like the whole world of it. It's hard to pick a favorite.
Dorian's Grey Room is badass too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that new space.
Oh my
Man.
God, it's
So
stunning.
Yeah, so fun to play in there. I mean, it just feels like your dream bar with fantastic elements and cool little thing, the paintings.
Yes.
We've got Rob Sidinglands is a producer and a director on our show, and there's a big painting up above the fireplace in Dorian's Grey
Corey.
Room, and Corey
And
as
Corey
well.
Faulkner.
And we
Like
have a
a
bunch
lot
of
of
crew members that are these.
They're
old
painted
paintings.
into the
Like
into these
old-fashioned
portraits.
paintings.
They're
So
like
sick.
old Rembrandts of our bosses looking down at us.
It's
as
great.
We're
They're
trying
always
to remember
watching.
our line.
That's so fun to have like these like little details kind of in set, right?
I really like Cerberus's personally. There's something that just feels really nostalgic about it. Like it's really fun and young, and I also feel like a lot of the scenes that we do are some of my favorite. I don't know if it's just like, I don't
Yeah,
know. I
there's
just
a lot
really
of
love every time we
dynamic
film at Cerberus's. Yeah,
It's a charming environment.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's like mortals have Cerebuses and the
We
witches
got
and warlocks have Dorian Grays.
Yeah.
And speaking of Dorian Gray, like, so what's his deal? Can we trust him this season? Is he kind of just the cool guy helping serve up drinks? Like, what's his deal?
It's definitely good to be skeptical of him. You know, he's such a mystery and based around a really cool character, Dorian Gray, you know, being trapped in a painting. And yeah, you know, we don't really know where his allegiance lies, and we'll see a lot more of his involvement in this season. But as far as whether he's doing all this out of the goodness of his heart or the not, you know, it's time will tell.
So you guys all have really amazing powers. So if you were to have another character's powers, whether that's, you know, having magic or the cunning, what would you want?
In real life,
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. Sleep demon powers, you know.
I think the cunning would be super cool.
I mean,
It's
I
pretty
think
tight. Like I might keep it. I kind of like it.
I think Sabrina could probably use the cunning. She should probably see what's gonna happen before she does.
Right.
Save her a
things.
lot of stress and headache.
I think that would kind of lessen the load in her life a lot, but she doesn't, and it's a better season because of it. So
I'd like to be like a familiar. So that I could just keep morphing into like cool, different, you know, shapes and bodies and animals and things, and I wouldn't just have to possess this body.
What would your default animal familiar state be?
Like a gorgeous little pixie toad.
I'm not sure if I read the zoo book on pixie toads, but
they're
Never seen a
really
pixie
big in witchcraftery world. It's a cross between a pixie and a toad. No, there's a great story about that. Listen, let me tell you a story. Do you know the story about the scorpion and the frog? And do you know the story about the scorpion and the frog? And the scorpion's like, "Come on, frog, I'll take you across the river." And the frog's like, "No, you're a scorpion. You're gonna bite me." And the scorpion's like, "Come on, don't be silly." Oh my God, I wish I hadn't started this story.
And then what happens, Michelle?
Anyway, the scorpion is taking the toad across the
No, it's the
river.
other way around.
And halfway through, the scorpion bites the toad. And the toad goes, "Jesus Christ. What'd you do that for?" And the scorpion said, "I'm a scorpion." So there you go.
Michelle, I also have to say, there are so many good memes of your character. Are you familiar with them?
No.
No?
Show me one.
You guys need to show her. Like, there's one scene from the first when you go to drink like a milkshake or something, and you totally missed the straw.
Yeah.
Have you seen that one?
Yeah, that was for you. Wasn't that for you? No, I remember in the pilot, you know, the thing about this cast is that it is so overloaded with immensely talented young people, and then me. And so in the beginning, you know, basically what you want is a lot of them, right? And then just a little sprinkling of theatrical saffron, and that would be me. So in the beginning, there was that moment, remember, where it was like I had to work out how to do tree acting, because I realized that they actually wanted more tree and less me. And that's why there's lots of me peeking behind things.
Michelle, can you just get further behind the tree?
Yeah.
We're seeing too much of you. Just hide a little bit
No,
more.
I need more Michelle.
Yeah, clearly. So, Kiernan, if Sabrina hadn't chose to sign her book in the book of the book of Satan, the book of the Beast, sorry, where do you think she'd be? Where would she be instead?
Well, it's an interesting question because if we're talking about if that actually didn't happen in the story, Greendale would have been set aflame and everyone would be dead and we wouldn't have a second part. So I'm happy that she did sign her name for that reason. But if not, I think she would just kind of be trying to balance her life between going to Baxter High and also sort of figuring out her witch abilities on her own. But I don't think it would be as exciting, but well, we'll see. Yeah.
Definitely less drama, for sure.
Less drama, probably a more low-key year 16 in her life. But
I mean, if all this happened on her 16th birthday, what can we expect from her 17th birthday?
dude, it's like 3 months into her 16th birthday. A lot of stuff has gone down. I mean, I always say she had a hell of a November because the amount of stuff that happened in the first part is just crazy. It's I mean, this episode 114 is Valentine's Day. I mean, that's her quarter birthday, basically. So the question was something.
Yeah.
What can we expect from her 17th birthday?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. That's probably gonna be like cake, right?
That's so good. I love
A nice, fun witch mortal mixer party.
Yeah.
That'll be
hopefully.
great.
Yeah, that would be really fun.
I want to see you in that Cleopatra wig again. That
Yeah,
was
that
killer.
was
fun.
That was
Like
fun.
somebody like Jaz could actually pull that off.
How do you think what would happen if Sabrina's mortal friends were to meet some of her colleagues over at the academy?
We might see
Well,
what
they
happens.
might.
We might see what happens actually
wow.
in like
They
3 hours when you can go
could.
stream it.
It's possible.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, dun dun dun.
Roz already knows the answer. And so obviously fans just devour things so much and are always trying to figure out what's going to happen next. Do you guys keep up with any of like the theories or anything? Have you seen any like wild theories about what's going to happen in part 2?
I like the theory that Sabrina's a twin. That's my favorite theory personally. I really enjoy it, and I think that we play around with that idea. I don't know if that specific Sabrina is a twin is true, but sort of the idea of her duality is definitely explored this season way more in depth. So that's one that I
It was the
Root
theory
vegetable.
where-
What?
Theory, yeah.
Root vegetable.
root veg. Yeah, no, sorry, inside joke. You'll get it in a few hours when you watch the show.
Oh my God. There's a theory where Nick Scratch was Madam Satan's son.
Yeah,
I
I really
like
like
that
that.
one.
And
Quite a
ever
good
since
one.
then, I looked
They
up
obviously
to you
didn't
as
really
a
like
mother
it.
figure.
Yeah, I don't know.
I got
Got real
no
quiet.
reaction
Got real
whatsoever.
quiet.
Have you seen any good theories about her mortal friends or anything? Anyone?
I haven't read any theories, so this is all new to me.
Shout them out.
Awesome. Well, I think we're going to take some questions from the audience, right? So here we go.
Hello.
Danny, hello. Thank you.
There.
Anybody there?
So, to all the women on stage, sorry, Gavin.
Okay.
Do you find empowerment through playing such powerful and kick-ass characters? Well, I guess you all can answer. Mira R. asked this.
Stand up, let's have a look at you.
Give us a spin.
No, I mean, I constantly feel empowered on this show by playing a young woman who is strong and stands up for what she believes in, and I believe to be a very good person. But I'm also just empowered going to work every day and seeing women behind the camera, female crew members. I'm empowered seeing Miranda and Lucy and Jazz and Michelle and Tati and Addie and Abby and all the wonderful women on our show. I'm inspired by just going to work every day and seeing powerful women just kick ass every day. That's sort of the combination of, yes, being on a show that has a lot of feminist themes, but also just living in a sort of a bubble or an environment that feels very woman heavy in a great way.
Yeah. I also just personally, in regards to playing a character like a strong, complex female role, is that I think with that sometimes, because people are wrapping their head around the idea of like women being strong, is that sometimes we're expected to be all strong all the time. And I really like that all these characters have weak moments and have human moments and make bad decisions. And for me, that's part of being a strong woman, is being a whole person. So I really like that about this show.
I think that Roberto seems to really embrace and celebrate and support women's strengths. And as you say, that doesn't mean that we always have to be, you know, chasing the great fight the whole time. We can just be rounded and real, and there's something really refreshing about that. It kind of makes us feel like a goddess and a human at the same time. It's remarkable.
Amazing.
Are there any lessons from your co-stars that you've learned that you would like to like share with the audience or anything?
Oh.
Oh man.
Oh. Can we just
Yeah.
Can we
this
just-
lady for a minute?
Can we just?
So I swear to God, like, she is unbelievable. She's my favorite person on the planet, because of your work ethic and just your talent and I have learned so much from you. And I keep saying this, and I'll say it again. I want to be Kiernan Shipka when I grow up. She is amazing.
Well, it's funny because I've learned everything I know from Michelle Gomez. So
That doesn't count. I said it first.
Okay, fine. I'll take the compliment.
Oh, that's so awesome. It's just so fun to like, also just like see that you guys just love each other and like are like learning from each other too.
For sure.
No, it's amazing. Everyone on the show is a pro.
Such a blessing. I mean, this is such a whirlwind for you all right too? Yeah, I mean, it's such a whirlwind, man. This is such a huge experience. I didn't have, you know, very many credits before this, and to be a part of this and to come into it, you know, I'm constantly reminded by people like, you have some amazing people that you work with, and truly, like, the people make the job, and it's a dream come true to like go to work with your friends every day and to be learning from our like adult actors. We're all the kids, you know, and we have such amazing adult actors, like to learn.
That is what we say.
That's what we say. Like, you know, but like to learn from them on set, off set, and just how to conduct the self, and then with the discipline of being there every single damn day, morning till night, is just like
With a smile.
Yeah, truly.
And still executing the scene every single freaking time.
Never
It's
heard
incredible.
a complaint once. Seriously, where are they?
Kiernan, can you give us 2 tiers instead of 3? Yeah, sure, absolutely. Boom, boom, boom. It's crazy.
Oh my gosh, we love that. So we're gonna go to another Q&A, another question from the audience. So this is for Jazz. Hi, I love you. You're actually my role model.
Oh.
Exclamation point, smiley face. But similar to your character and your grandmother in the show, do you have a family tradition, secret, or trait that you hold dear to your heart? This is from Lauren and Sydney.
Hi. Hello. You're so sweet. That was such a sweet. Yeah, I can't see you, but I can hear you. Hi. Let's see. I know I have them. My family's like a little superstitious. I mean, I don't know if this is just specific to my family or just women and people in general, but like all the women in my family just have really strong intuitions. and like shamelessly so. Like my grandma and my mom are all that way, where I'm just like, how do you know this? And they
Y'all
just
got the
know.
cunning.
We got the cunning. So that's my family tradition, is the real life cunning.
That's actually how Jazz got cast.
Nice to meet you.
Jazz had to have a vision in the audition, right?
Yeah, I did. I had a real one. I was like, oh, I'm going to be on this show.
So this question is from Shannon. This is for all of you guys. If each of you could choose a familiar for yourselves, what would you choose and why? But no cats.
A white hawk.
What?
A
That was
white
so
hawk.
fast.
Yeah. I've had this ready to go, you guys.
White Hawk, next question.
Yeah, next. Go to her.
White Hawk.
Gavin actually
Hawk.
means white hawk in Welsh. Yeah.
How about the three of you guys? What would you guys have?
Michelle Gomez.
Peeking around corners.
As the pixie toad or as Michelle?
Just as Michelle.
As Michelle, for sure.
Same thing. Jazz?
I think.
Jazz?
I
See,
think
this
I'm
is
gonna-
what people in a panel do when they don't know how to answer. They just
They
go,
go, yeah, absolutely. Good question, Michelle. Such a good point, Gavin. That's always so
how
uncomfortable.
about you in the front row? Who would be?
you with the shirt.
I'm sorry?
She's funny. I think of Fox today. Oh yeah. I'm just feeling. Oh yeah. Okay, definitely a Fox then.
I concur.
For sure. Not going back on that.
Oh.
So this question is from Laura. For Michelle, when did you learn the true identity of Madame Satan? What was your reaction? And have you learned anything of Lilith's mythology since?
I knew about the transition from the beginning, from the breakdown that I'd got and, for the casting, and I was just like, that's mine. I'm doing that. I'm doing it. Like Jazz, I'm like, I turned up and I went, thank you. I'm here to help. And then, have I learned anything from Lilith? No, not really.
Damn.
No, Lilith for me was the key to Madame Satan's backstory, and has given me the opportunity to, after we, in the first season, part 1, there was so much to unpack for all of us, for every character, and that sort of took up the main setting out our stall in terms of what our story was. And then in season 1, part 2, because of the Lilith detail, I get to have a curious kind of empathy that I wasn't sure I was going to be allowed to have, in that I do not believe that we're any of us born evil. I think consequences happen, life happens, and that's what forms us and makes us who we are today, depending on how we react to those things in life. So Lilith was a gift for me in terms of knowing where I could go with her emotionally.
So this question is from Madison. How would you say you best relate to your character this season and why? Let's start with Kiernan.
Ooh, I relate best to my character this season because I think I relate to coming into your own. Sabrina's a bit younger than me. I'm 19 and she's 16. And a lot of the things that she's going through are very just analogous to the teenage experience in so many ways. I mean, there's this witchy, magical, fictitious element to the whole thing, but a lot of the things she's going through are just growing up things. So I think I relate to her in way more ways than one, just because I feel like being a 16-year-old girl, we can all relate if we've been a 16-year-old girl. You can't relate. You can't relate.
Oh.
No comment.
How about you guys? How do you guys best relate to your characters this season?
I think for me, Roz this season has a really interesting cocktail of like beautiful things and tragic things, and I just feel like it's such a it's just a lesson in life, and that you're gonna get good things and bad things, and sometimes they come in the same package, and I really relate to that.
Yeah, in part one, I mean, we get kind of a tease of who Nick is. We see much more of a surface level perspective of who he is, which is using all my flirtatious energy on that one. And, you know, there's a lot of that, like, kind of bad boy mysterious thing. But in part two, we get to dive a lot more into, like, the sensitivity of Nick. And some of those layers are really stripped away. And, you know, he's a bit of a softie behind all that bad boyness, which is, you know, I'm a softie, man. I'm a huge mama's boy. Like, I've got to, yeah, that's just a big part of me.
You the
You-
softest.
yeah,
Yeah.
softest.
Yeah.
Soft boy.
Yeah.
Soft warlock. How about you, Michelle? How do you best relate?
That she has this strength, but she's also really vulnerable as well. And and I think that we see a lot more of that in season 2 as well. So I was able to be less just one thing, and it's always more interesting to play in the grey rather than just be right. I'm good or I'm evil, you know, and to have that kind of nuance where you can be as. It's hard to talk about her being from a sort of emotionally human standpoint, because obviously she's a demon that's possessed somebody else's body.
And she eats men.
And she eats men. And there's not a lot of salad. But I have to infuse her with something. Otherwise, I'm just playing a two-dimensional character that I can't relate to. So I think with her, it's clear that, you know, I've lived a life, and I have some wisdom and to impart, but not a lot. But I also know that when you peel away the layers of anyone, you know, there's another story to tell, and sometimes comedy is a sort of protection as to what's really going on behind the veil. And so I that's where I sort of fell in love with Madam Satan myself, where I don't really care whether, because as I'm British, we don't really care as baddies or the villains whether you like us or not. That's why we get cast as villains. But I need to like her. I need to fall in love with her and have a relationship with her. So I've grown very fond of her.
So this is tied to the episode. Who wrote the Mean Girls line? Was it an ad lib or was it in the script?
Mean Girls line.
Mean Girls line.
They filmed a while ago, right? So
Oh,
Forever ago.
girls, let's not be. Which one?
No, which one?
Oh.
Oh, he doesn't even go here. Oh, that's so funny. That's so fun. You know what? I didn't even think of that. And I mean, it was definitely Roberto and the writers that had that idea, but I didn't even. Man, that's clever. Damn. Wow.
Now you're gonna go look to all those episodes, and there's gonna be Mean
There's
Girl.
gonna be Mean Girl references everywhere. It's like I have ESPN or something. Yeah.
Oh my God, we love that. So this question is from Ivy. Seeing women respected and self-respecting as people and their own stories. Seeing women respected and self-respecting as people and their own selves is meaningful. What stands out to you as a time you spoke or acted in support of that or against a form of misogyny, oppression, or suppression?
What?
Has there been ever been a moment, you know, in your life where you remember kind of speaking out against, you know, misogyny or oppression or kind of just like bad people?
I mean,
I-
think
Not
to-
directly.
I mean, I think to a certain extent, waking up every single day, walking out in the world, and owning your stuff, that's a very powerful thing to do. I mean, just being yourself and standing up for who you are as a person and believing in yourself and being a champion of yourself is really a very powerful thing everyone can do every single day.
Mhm. I also think, and I can't think of like a specific example in this moment, but like something that I think is important to talk about in regards to misogyny and things is like when women are talking about women things, men don't know as much, and sometimes I feel like when you talk about these things, men can take it personally and think that they're doing something wrong, and that's kind of a form of misogyny, that us speaking out against something is a direct attack. And so kind of talking about that, I think. Yep.
Yeah.
I could have finished that sentence better, but y'all get it.
You guys want to chime in or anything? No? It's a lot of questions.
I'll
so
leave
we
it to
should-
the women. Yeah.
Yeah,
I-
I said.
I'm just gonna take her advice and be quiet. Yeah.
I agree with Gavin.
So what is your favorite part about playing your character? Is there a side of him or her that you are hoping or looking forward to explore this part?
Yeah, we kind of touched on that a little bit too, didn't we?
Did we? So we just move right along then?
Yeah, let's just do the next one.
I
I'm
mean,
excited to play more of that sensitivity of Nick, yeah. But also too, like the whole, I mean, yeah. Next question. Hey Jazz, you had something to say.
I'm excited. I'm excited to be playing a badass female in a phenomenal show where I am not, sitting in the corner with a cardigan on, eating a packet of biscuits, right? I mean, I'm not going down without a fight, right? And I just, as a woman of a certain age, whatever that means, it's not lost to me that this is a phenomenal role that I get to play. And the response I've had back from women of a certain age, is, women of a certain age can be younger women as well, right? Because Kiernan and I, we met at
we're
camp.
both women of a certain age, yeah.
And admittedly, I'm a little bit older. I'm around about 28 or so.
Yeah.
And when we were at camp, I was actually one of the counselors.
Yeah, we went to
But-
camp together.
And that's where we bonded, right? And so this women of a certain age thing doesn't count in my eyes. Actually, just to be really clear about what Roberto's doing here is that it feels like he's taking all the labels and he's just throwing them in the trash. And that we can be, it doesn't matter what age you are, what, sex, gender, creed, color, whatever. It just doesn't matter anymore. It's about the relationships. I think that's why this cast works so well, is because we just see each other on a deeper level other than what we're meant to see. We're just we're done. We're done with it. It's old. We just
and
move on and concentrate on the relationship rather than anything else.
And just in regards to what you were saying about taking the labels off of it, when I originally got the breakdown for this character, it was a little bit more my parents were Black Panthers, and so it was a little bit more race related. And as this show has developed, those things got cut out, and I'm so happy that they did, because it doesn't need to be a thing. It doesn't need to be something that we talk about. It can, because we're in a timeless world. Why does this world have to have racism in it at all? And so I really also agree with what you're saying with Roberto, just kind of being no labels. We're all just people, and we all have complex stories, period. Yeah.
So on on a lighter but also spooky note, I've heard on horror. This is from Audrey. I've heard on horror films that sometimes something spooky or unexpected can happen. Has anything like that happened on set?
Oh man, I don't think that, honestly, it's pretty funny because most of the stuff that translates as scary onto that screen is actually kind of funny in real life. It's funny when you see the demon trying to eat a banana in between takes at Crafty. All the prosthetics are kind of in the way. They have this large sort of bottle of water with a straw that they put up to the Dark Lord so he can stay hydrated in between takes.
Have the long fingers and they try to eat a sandwich.
Yeah,
It's so good.
most of it actually ends up being kind of funny in real life. Nothing spooky has happened to me. I mean, I'm not superstitious. I've worked with the Black Cat for 9 months and things are still going all right for me. So I don't think that anything spooky has happened.
There was a scene though in part 1 when we were all chanting around the pentagram and the candles, and they'd had the the fan cue and the sounds all going, that there like can definitely be some. And we're in the woods. It's
Vibes.
2 a.m. and it's
Yeah.
dark. And
Right.
I mean, it could feel spooky for sure.
What about when we were
Softy.
doing that singing? Singing in the bed, remember? We were doing the singing in the bed with
Like-
Miranda and
Oh yeah, not
Lucy?
for the show. That was just
And there
for-
was
for
like
our
weird
fun.
knock, knock, knock.
Really? I don't remember that.
No?
No, I mean I
You
remember.
should just make stuff up.
Did you hear that?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
Well,
I don't
on on that spooky note, that's pretty much all the time we have today. But
There's
Um,
stuff to say.
well, in a couple of hours, they can all watch the full part 2, right?
Wow.
So, I know, right? So
Spoilers, like we could just like tell you all sorts
Literally,
of
we
shit.
could.
Wouldn't matter.
It's much too late for us to get in trouble at this point.
Seriously, no one's getting fired.
Yeah,
no one's
no.
getting fired.
it's been filmed and it's gonna be up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's give them all a round of applause, everyone. Put your shoes back on, Michelle. So thank you so much. And enjoy part 2 of Netflix's Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. And have a great night, everyone.